From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday and a great holidays, LA, with your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, direct and live from Santa Monica, California. In this recording, we're going to go over this incredible recon and the path to get it done in the month of January. New indication today, with several proposals from the Democrats and a Zoom meeting happening minutes from now that'll figure out the path to get it done. I'll go over the latest new comments from Joe Manchin and the Senate changes that he wants going in there and why I've been talking about these changes for a while and why they need to get done. We're going to go over the big checks that are in that recon and which ones are staying in there, upwards of $15,000. Then we're going to turn to the incredible money for third stimulus. This is your holiday stimulus money going out right now, right today, upwards of $5,000 viewer getting across the board. I'm going to show you how to get that money as well. Student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that, plus the latest details on that fifth stimulus coming up in January. But you know what the name of the show is? It's Holidays LA. And today's show, the theme today is a one we've never covered before. We're going to go over the wonders of baking at home for the holidays. And I'm going to go over my recipe for baking scones. This is the mixture. It's ready to go right in the oven within just minutes from now. I'll go over my recipe for scones, and I'll also go over how to buy bread. We're going to feature some best bread to buy in the markets. I have some cheese bread on here that comes very great with some jalapenos. We also have some very, very great Middle Eastern bread going to feature in today's recording. All those details and more, how to bake and how to buy bread for the holidays. That is unique. Bring your questions and comments live in the live chat because I'll be interacting with you as well. That's all in the second half, and the excitement starts right now as holidays LA heats up and the excitement gets underway live from Santa Monica. And here we go. That fourth stimulus recon will pass in the month of January, so says the Democrats, but with different approaches to it. I'm going to go over them in just a second. That'll pay you at least $15,000 of checks across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Let's go over those checks. Almost all of them are staying in there. Hazard pay got in there in the first cluster. It's staying in there. That's for the earned income tax credit for 1 more year for my essential workers. $4,000 of elder care got in there, staying in there. $4,000 to care for young children. They got the CTC, $3,600, likely to stay in there, but will get modified. I have breaking news about that in this recording you've never heard before. Then also the home repairs of the low-income community, the Pell Grant $550 check for my college student, and also the $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. The first add-on comes from the illustrious Maxine Waters. She wanted to get it in there, and what is it? It is $25,000. No, it's a little bit less for purchase of your first home. She wanted to give you $25,000. She couldn't get that full sum, so she got a little bit less. And it's money given to from the seller to the seller in your name from the federal government at the time of escrow for the purchase of your first home. Incredible. Let's go to the second clause of checks. Home repairs and paid leave got in there. Paid leave likely to get modified. More about that in a second. Also got in there the incredible the household tax credit and the weatherize your home. This is for sustaining natural disasters across the board. The second add-on of checks comes from the wonderful Bob Casey. He wanted to provide that provision in there, and he got it in there. $250, he got a little bit less. And what is this? This is money for home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Wow. He got it in there across the board. The third cluster of checks is deliciousness, seniors and free internet. They also got in there the free school meals for all checks, the money for farmers, the money for the independent contractors, and then for the seniors, 3 types of coverage to 5 types of coverage. So we first have the House members. Those House members got in there 2 provisions to expand seniors' benefits under Medicare, which are hearing and also the Medicaid gap fix provided in states where they were not providing Medicare assistance. The senators vowed to add 3 other provisions, and the 3 other provisions they vowed to add are dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. Currently at 65, they're looking at 60 or 55. Now, what's important to note, because it's not very clear if you don't watch this channel, is that the senators have never added in their provisions yet to this recon. Why? Because the JoJo Real Housewives of West Virginia reality show has been going on for 2 weeks, and they haven't had time to add stuff in there. They've been dealing with the dramatics of the procedural vote and when is the vote type of stuff in the last 2 weeks. So there is still time to add stuff in there because they haven't added anything in there yet, and they have a lot to add in there. Among the items, of course, to add in there is MSC, which stands for multiple IRS stimulus check, differentiated from the rest of this recon that has multiple checks in there. This is the one that would be set out by IRS back in the month of May. Those legislators told viewers of this channel, thousands of them, that it would go in there. Then 2 weeks ago when the legislation landed in the Senate, we said to re-advocate, and boy, did you do well. And those senators again said, it's going in there. Viewer after viewer was told the same message. We had Lynn Glenn told the message by Bob Casey's office. Tyrell being told the message by Chris Coon's office. Donnie and his wife Sharon being told the message by Ron Wyden's office. Also, Bonnie being told the same messaging from the offices of Liz Warren. And the message across the board is going in there. When we talk about MSC, what are we talking about? Well, the last time they talked about numbers, they said $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months across the board. And they want to do eligibility the same as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, got that third stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less, got it, double it. Family of 4, quadruple it if you have a family of 4. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you got it. Adult dependents got it as well. It's not income, it's not taxable. And it's offered across all U.S. states because it's not state stimulus, this is federal stimulus. And that is where we are right now. It's important to re-advocate by picking up the phone and calling their offices. Don't use the word MSC because you need to use simple words like IRS stimulus check. Advocate to those senators. And who do you want to advocate to? Let's go over who they are and why it's important for you to get your message out. And they are the following senators: Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Advocate to them by speaking to their staff, or at least leaving a voice message. Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. There's a lot of breaking news at noontime about this recon that is brand new. And if you've been missing recordings over the last few days, you're really behind. And even if you miss mornings LALATE, you're behind again. So it was over a week ago I said you can't miss a single recording because the situation is changing by the hour. It's that fluid. Let me give you the rundown where we are right now. Right now, the president is not dealing with the situation correctly because why? There's now upwards of at least 4 to 5 different lead Democrats saying different approaches to how to deal with January. And no one can get on the same message. So it's not good. The White House should really come in and say, this is how we're going to do it. This is the way we're going to do it. Let me go over the recap of where the 5 positions are, and some of them are brand new today. First, brand new today, Pramila Jayapal, the head of the Progressive Caucus in the House. She's not a senator, but she's a House member. She got the phone call from Joe Manchin over the weekend. She basically said, "You're a liar. I'm calling you a liar. I'm going to tell press you're a liar." And she did. And this is the guy, and this is the woman that Joe Manchin thought she really got along well. So she threw him under the bus, just like a reality TV show. She threw him under the bus and did it on broadcast media. So what is she saying? her approach is don't negotiate at all with him. And is that going to work? No, it ain't going to work. So that's sort of silly. Doesn't make any sense. And remember, Pramila Jayapal was the person who's supposed to put an MSC checks into that recall on the House side. She didn't keep her promise at all. We next have Nancy Pelosi. What is she saying? Call the vote, but keep everything in there that the House put in there. That ain't going to work either, because Joe Manchin has already said there's problems with this recon. I've said there's problems with the recon. And Nancy passed the problem provisions. What's the next approach we're hearing? The next approach is to negotiate kindly and respectfully. The president reportedly is doing that. We learned today that shortly after the Fox interview, the president was able to speak to Joe Manchin directly, and they spoke and they got along, and they will speak again. We also learned today that at the time of the Joe Manchin interview on Sunday Fox News, Joe Manchin sent a staffer over to the White House to say, "Hi, I'm appearing on Fox News about the recon." Did not say much. And immediately thereafter, the White House called over to Joe Manchin to speak to him before he goes on air. He refused to take the phone call. So the last approach is the one we've been advocating for and is the best one. Hashtag Chuck call the vote. And we've gotten it. Last Wednesday, I started the campaign. When Chuck, before all this started, before any of this started, where we were just dealing with the situation of Chuck and the president, I said, hashtag Chuck call the vote. And Chuck is calling the vote. Today, perhaps at the time of this recording, Chuck Schumer is calling a Zoom chat with all Democratic senators to talk about January. Is Joe Manchin going to appear? How is they going to treat him? We don't know. Chuck Schumer's approach is how I would approach it, and how you would approach it as well. Call the vote. Why is calling the vote good and the best situation? Let me go over every nuance of it first. First, it appears the vote would first appear with a debate, where senators debate the recon before they actually vote. And that debate would appear on C-SPAN, appear on this channel, appear on broadcast media, appear live. It's very helpful for two reasons. The White House reason and the Joe Manchin reason. The White House reason is that the White House has done wrong here. The White House, since earlier this year, I told you, had asked for a 20-year programs like the CTC, the child tax credit, $3,600, 20 years, $60,000 a child for 20 years. And people said, no way, I'm not doing that. Then they said, okay, 10 years. They said, I'm not doing 10 years. At 3 trillion, they said, I'm not doing 10 years. Okay, 1 year at 1.75 trillion, I'll do 1 year. But then when you look at the language, the recon is not 1 year. The recon is 20 years. The press release from the White House says it runs a generation, says it's life-changing, says it's permanent. Joe Manchin says it's permanent. And guess who else says it's permanent besides me? The other person who says it's permanent is the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan organization. They say the White House is using tricky language to masquerade 1-year programs, to masquerade 20-year programs as 1-year programs. So when that appears on live news, it's going to be front page story. Press is going to pick it up. They're going to ask the White House. And there's going to be massive egg on the president's face because his staffers have been trying to pull off a fast one. And I've been covering it. Joe Manchin's been saying it. And it hasn't been front page news. It will be then front page news. And that's when the White House will have to stop their game playing and take away the game playing language that is in the recon. Next, it helps for the Joe Manchin situation. Joe Manchin situation, there's two problems with Joe Manchin. First, there are provisions he says he wants out, and they're not taking it out. And second, he tries to delay it. The first problem, Joe Manchin wants certain provisions out. What provisions does he want out? Paid leave. Paid leave he wants out. How do you fix the paid leave if you call the vote? Here's an example. He wants paid leave to be offered to us as citizens, but he wants it to go by bipartisanship, with Republicans agreeing to it. The way Chuck Schumer solves this by calling the vote is asking for an amendment where the Republicans can vote in favor of just a paid leave amendment, and watch how 0 of them vote in favor of it. Because we've done the polling of this. There's 0 Republican senators who want to do paid leave. And Joe Manchin keeps on saying, I want paid leave to go with Republican support. There are no Republicans in favor of it. So you can ask for something because you're asking for something that doesn't exist. So that will hopefully get Joe Manchin to say, okay, fine, I'll just do paid leave. Then we have the provisions that need to be fixed, which Joe Manchin is asked to be fixed. When he says, I want them fixed, like the child tax credit, they will fix them. If they don't, it won't be his onerous. It'll be the White House's onerous because he asked for them to be fixed during a debate on the Senate floor. Number 3, the more important situation with Joe Manchin, delay. Joe Manchin has been categorically delaying. He uses this language: pause, wait, wonder, think about it, longer, review, maybe. I'm going to feature this more on Afternoons LA today, but I'm going to tell you one point very clear. Is one person you don't play games with, Nancy Pelosi, and she got it right. What did she do? When Gothenheimer in the House was playing the same game with her, saying, maybe I'll vote for the recon if you pass my infrastructure first, she said, I'm not going to sit back and be happy with a maybe. You know what I'm going to do? This is what she did, and she got it. She had Gothenheimer raise his hand on TV into the congressional record, say he was going to do it. Then had him write it out, longhand, sign it, put it into the congressional record. She even called a special vote that says, you will do this if I do that. He voted and passed, did it. She literally locked the key and threw it away. There was no way from Gothenheimer to squirm out of this. This is, so sorry, the hand and the lights of this. We're going to come back and focus. Here we come. Where we go? We go and come back and focus. Let's go. Come on. Hey, how are you? Come back and focus a little bit. I don't know. Let's see if we can come back and focus. There you go. She locked in Gothenheimer to not squirm out of things. Joe Manchin will squirm out with a maybe yes or sorta if Chuck Schumer doesn't lock him into an actual position. Next, the other reason why the voting helps is because there's a lot of ways to change things. First, you do the debate, then you modify stuff before you call the vote. You do not send them to subcommittee. Send to subcommittee is where things die. That's what Joe Manchin wants. Send to subcommittee. It'll die. That's what Chuck Schumer, what Mitch McConnell wants. Send to subcommittee. It'll die. Don't do that. You modify it, then you call the vote. You also have the vote-a-rama. It's all very simple across the board. Takeaway, recon will pass in January. Recon will go for a vote in January. Recon still has a lot of work to be done. They have to add stuff in there. Nothing has been added by the Senate at all. So if anyone says, what about that MSC? If someone comes in with a negative comment about MSC, guess what? Bernie has 3 provisions for Medicare. He hasn't even got to his provisions. There's a lot of people, Ron Wyden, all his stuff has not been taken care of. Lots of people have a lot of stuff to add in there. It hasn't been done yet because they've been dealing with Real Housewives of West Virginia. So 2 exciting, just a strange place to insert. I'm going to insert right here. 2 exciting news to you. First, there's a brand new Calcino episode coming. Episode 3 of Calcino is airing either tonight or tomorrow night, and it's going to feature Sirloin bringing you into the universe of Real Housewives of West Virginia. I'm not kidding. It's a good episode. I saw it. It's a good episode. I watched from the side. I'm like, Sirloin, he's doing a good one this time. Second, if you missed Mornings LA, which apparently everyone did. If you missed Mornings LA, which apparently everyone did today, I don't know what you all stayed out late last watching Monday Night Football or something last night. I don't know what happened. But there is a new show coming to this channel in a few months. But tonight, it's going to test. What is a test? We're going to do 1 episode of it tonight to see if you like it. What is it going to be? This channel is going to be relaunching itself as a 24-hour financial news channel covering this subject matter and everything else starting in January. And we're going to do a test of one of those shows tonight. In the slot where Overnight's Crypto usually airs, you're going to see a test show called LALATE Live. It will run for the same duration that Overnight's Crypto usually runs, for 12 hours, 14 hours. It will feature tonight the afternoon show repeating. In future incarnations, it will be the evening show. And it'll showcase the ability to learn this information, financial news, and put this channel #1 on the map for financial in the United States. There is no competitor broadcast terrestrial cable that is doing this in the streaming platform space. We will be the first. So I really ask that you watch that show. It airs tonight at 3:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and runs for the last 12 hours. So jump throughout the night, jump in the live chat, interact. In the second half of the show, we're going to go over how to cook and bake. how to do a beautiful holiday scone. Here is the mixture. It has already been mixed, so it's the mixed ingredients. And then we're talking about how to buy. We're all talking about bread. Bring the carbs to this video today. And people during the opening credits saying, I hope he brings his recipe. I am bringing the recipe. And this show is actually going to talk about how to modify your baking recipes if you're out of goods because of supply chain issues, or you simply didn't go to the market. How to modify your baking recipes. Those details and more coming up in the second half as a big holidays LA continues. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as we go into the second half with holidays LA heating up across the board. How are you? Boy, what a big day it is. And in the second half, we're going to go over baking in the holiday season and buying that delicious bread. And here we go. We're going to start with scones. Here is a mixture. It's already mixed. All my ingredients ready to put in the oven of a holiday scone mixture. And it had to be modified last night because guess what? I was out of some key ingredients. Let me bring it close to the camera. You see all that richness in there. You see the dough, the raisins, and the nuts all in there. So let's go over how to bring a scone to deliciousness. Scone is very simple. You need to get that hearty, that sweetness, and then you also have to have that rich earthiness. Now, there's different ways to do scones. If you bring it to the white flour, softer flour universe, it's going to taste more like a French bread type of scone. If you bring it into where I'm taking it, the wheats, the oats, the semolina, you get into a much more heartier type of scone. And just because it's heartier doesn't mean it's bitter. It's just heartier. And guess what? If it's cold outside, it's festive, it's a holiday party, you have a cup of cocoa, you want this one, the heartier one. So how do I start it? I started with my flour mixture. I usually use about 6 cups of flour and I usually split it up. And in splitting it up, I would do like a semolina and a white because I think the semolina by itself is too overwhelming. Now, if I have some whole wheat, I'll throw a little bit of whole wheat in there. I won't dominate with whole wheat. But any flour works. Now, you want it to have a good consistency. So you don't want it to be too smooth and you don't want it too lumpy. Remember, it's a scone, so it should not be smooth like a pancake. It should have a rockiness to it because it's going to be that you bite into it. It's like, oh, it has a nice crunch. It's crunchy on the outside, it's soft on the inside, but just a lot of flavor coming out. So that's what I start with. Now, last night, I looked and I didn't have my white flour and I didn't have my semolina. In fact, I didn't have either. So what do? Scrambling. So I did have oats, Quaker oats. You know, for your oatmeal at breakfast time, I use the real oats, not the oatmeal mix, but the real oats. I had Quaker oats sitting around, and I had my mixture for gingerbread, and that is just pure deliciousness. So what did I do? Graham cracker crust, graham cracker flour. Graham cracker flour is very prominent. It does have a little bit of sweetness in there. So I had graham cracker flour and I had the Quaker oats. And so what I do, I mix them. Now, what ratios would I do in a situation where I'm having to do something impromptu? I don't have my flour, but I do have Quaker oats and I do have some graham cracker crust, or flour, graham cracker flour. So I was going with basically a dominance with the oats and a minority with the graham cracker, because the graham cracker is going to swarm through the oats and then bring the sweetness, and the oats is going to have that sort of hard richness, whereas the graham cracker will clearly be sweet. All right, so that's where I start. Then you want to add in the rest of your dries. What are your dries? Your salt, your baking powder. You don't need salt if you have a salt problem at home, but salt, your baking powder, and and how much? Well, I generally use about a tablespoon of both. And if you're making a lot of it, just double the ingredients. Just double the ingredients. You don't need the salt again if you have a salt problem. The baking powder, I think I use almost 2 tablespoons, almost 3 tablespoons. I use a lot of baking powder because I want it to rise. So do not be fearful that baking powder. Use a lot of it, and this will make you about, I think it's almost 12 scones, about 12 scones. Then next, you want to mix it. First, you want to make sure you mix your flours together before you start the salt and the baking soda. Then you want to mix that again, because you don't want to have that bite of baking soda in your teeth, because you're like, oh, someone didn't mix this right. You want to mix while you're adding. Then the next group to come in is your savories. In this case, I use my white raisins, aka the yellow raisins, not the red or the black. I use the golden raisins, I guess you say, the golden raisins. And then I use nuts. Now, I usually use walnuts. And again, last night it didn't have walnuts. I don't know what happened. I guess I didn't think to get them. I thought I had them. Didn't have walnuts. I did have the raisins. So how much? I want to do 1 cup of raisins for this order and 1 cup of walnuts. And I want it to be generous. Now, you can go higher on either ratio if you want. If you want more raisins, you'll tell as you mix it and say, I like more raisins in my mixture. I like more nuts in mine. So I didn't have walnuts. What I do, I went with peanuts. Now I have the generic peanuts, salted, cocktail nuts, and I just got them in my hand. I crunched them up. In my hand, that's good. And crunch them up and smash them up just lightly and then threw them in there. It's fine. This is not a perfection game because it's a scone. Scone sort of looks like that rough cousin that shows up for Thanksgiving. Oh, it's you again. You always wear like the tweed and the, it never has the hair brushed right. It's just that rough cousin. It's just not supposed to be the pretty scone. It's supposed to be sort of the rough scone. Now, you want to add stuff else in there at this point, right? This is where you would add stuff in there. So you want to be inventive. You have other stuff in the house you have to use up. Maybe your stuff is getting old. It's time to use it. Yeah, throw in some blueberries. Throw in some raspberries. Throw in some candy. Throw in, that extra dry fruit that you have. Dried apricots. You just have extra stuff sitting around. Throw it in there. And you know what you do? Stir. Just sort of look at it. Does the ratios look good? You're not tasting it yet because it's dry. Stir. Okay, then come our wets. First set of wets are my vanilla extract and then my olive oil. I'm going to do about 3 tablespoons of each. 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. 3 tablespoons of vanilla extract. It may look like it's a lot of vanilla extract. It's not. And really drizzle it all over the mixture because it ain't going to spread easily. So you have to spread it by the way you're dropping it. The olive oil, same situation. You can never have too much olive oil, and do not worry if it looks like a lot of vanilla. It just sort of needs it. It needs to bring in the sweetness. The salt brings out the hearting, brings out the flavoring, but the vanilla really improves it. The imitation vanilla is usually good for people who have diabetic concerns. Always consult with a doctor before any type of cooking recipe. All right, so that is the first set of wets. So ironically, for my liquid, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do milk, you can do cream. I just do it the simplest way. And trust me, it doesn't really affect the flavor. Water. Believe it or not, water. I take the entire massive bowl, which is going to be big at this point, and I put it right under the sink. I get my fork ready in my hand to mix, because I'm going to mix with a fork. I'm going to just go around with the fork, and I turn on the water real slow, let that water sort of drizzle really slow, get ready to turn off in a second, just really, very, very slow, and start to mix. How moist do you want this to be? Well, this has been sitting since last night, because I did this last night. It's been in the refrigerator. But this is pretty moist. It's gooey. You want it gooey, moist. You do not want it liquidy. Oh, I went out of focus again. It doesn't like. The holiday lights are just, oh, there I come back in. You don't want it liquidy. It's not pancakes mix. You don't want it like a rock. We're not making a loaf. You want it gooey, like you're doing cookies. That's the consistency. Really gooey, so you can grab it in your hand, which is what you're going to do. And there you go. Taste. Taste as you're stirring. Drizzle a little bit more. Taste. One way or the other, you need to modify. Add more raisins, add more nuts, add a little bit more vanilla. Taste along the way. All right, how to form. Get that pan ready for 50, approximately in the oven. Preheat the oven, 30 minutes. Get that pan ready. I just drizzle the pan with olive oil. And then grab with your hand. I put in the palm of the hand. I use the second hand, and I form it. Form it. Bam, down. 1, done. Do 12 of them. It's approximately 12. Give some spacing between them. They will rise. They will expand. And leave in the oven. You got to watch it. Now, you can't tell people it's exactly this temperature. We're all in different parts of the country. Moreover, the ingredients will modify the temperature. So the oats may roast faster than a white flour. You don't want it to burn. First of all, you do not want anything black. That is wrong. You can have a little bit golden. You want it crispy. You don't want it hard as a rock. There's nothing. This is you overcook this, you will break a tooth if you bite into it. Yeah, you don't want it to turn into something really hard like burnt toast. So, and you don't want to undercook it so it's so soft that it feels mealy. So, no problem. Just take it out of the oven and look at it. Just sort of flip it over. Absolutely have to flip it one time, and look at it and say, hey, I think it needs a little bit more. Maybe take a little knife, slice a little edge off, take a little test across the board. Let me jump in the live chat and see some of your comments so far today. Wow, what a great group we got in here today. So let's see some of your comments. They need to get this done. I see people talking about stimulus. What recipe is this? We're talking about scones. Oh, so you're just joining the live chat. We're talking about scones right now. Very, very interesting. People are talking a lot about stimulus right at the moment. This was 5 months ago. No, but scones were just last night. Will you be eating or preparing for Christmas? Well, who starves on Christmas? Great question from Paula. Scones are deliciousness, says Anne. Love the lights, says Paula. Very, very funny. Here's a personal commentary. Here's a personal commentary, and I see a lot of people in the live chat that are not members. Here's a personal commentary that it's fine based upon the events of this week. Oh, welcome the new member. New member just joined the chat. Spank D. Spank D. Welcome Spank D to the family. Spank D. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome Spank D to the family. It's a day like this, or the week like this, that there's no reason not to be angry at government. Fine to be angry at government. But it's also really not a time or place to just be showing up looking for your check. And trust me, I've been seeing some of the comments that I'm getting. I got a message, private messaging, social media the other day. So it's going to be in January. So January, you're going to get a check. What day in January am I getting my check? Oh, Lord. I want you to understand, third stimulus is available, and you need to get third stimulus. One of the things I have with a live chat is I have the ability to watch the viewership numbers in the room during the live chat. As soon as I went to commercial break, I said, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about food. The numbers fell. So we had 700 people in the room before I said, now let's talk about food. And it fell, which is fine. People aren't hungry. But the the important thing is that if people are just showing up for checks, not getting the messaging from this channel, not getting the messaging from this channel. This channel is not about looking for a check. And Third Stimulus has checks, lots of them. Just showing up looking for a check in January. The recon is about getting money that's been allocated to you. And if you don't even know what's going on with a program at that time and you're saying, what day am I getting a check? It's going to be, January is going to be a rude awakening. And I think this holiday season will be sort of a place in which people sort of say, you know what? I was misfocused. I kept on just looking for checks. All these other viewers were cashing checks, and I just kept on asking for a check line in my bank account. No, but it's absolutely par for the course and absolutely right to, you can be absolutely angry at Congress. That's fine. And I know some people say stay positive, and I saw someone just post it. Absolutely. It's fine to stay positive. Also fine to be, angry at whatever Joe Manchin did, angry at what the president did. You see me being, going in on them. But at the same time, you have to fight for every dollar that's yours. And one of the messages you can see on the afternoon show at 3 o'clock today, I talk about how the third stimulus money is available right now there, folks. The third stimulus money is available right there, and people are getting $5,000 from this channel. But if you're not getting it, and I don't know why you're not getting it because you don't want it or you think you're fine, come January, this economy is going to be in a bind. All the health reports that are out today that are going to be featured on the shows later today show that you're going to see the case counts for COVID in January go through the roof. And that by March, you're going to really see the impact because these things are delayed. First, people will contract it during these holiday traveling. Miami-Dade Airport today is the busiest day of Miami-Dade Airport in history. So a lot of people think that they're fine to travel. And you can see the interviews on broadcast media. I'm double vaccinated. I'm fine. I feel great. No one said you don't feel great. Double vaccination doesn't work against Omicron. It's not a completely effect against Omicron. And needless to say, some people are just sort of convincing themselves of a false narrative for Omicron, that they're totally fine. Totally fine. I got in it today. I lost my temper today with people that were not wearing masks all around me. I said, I can't deal with this anymore. People think they are invincible because they're double vaccinated. And I got to tell you, until the president comes out and says, stop it, it's going to get worse because smart, educated Democrats who are double vaccinated think they're invincible because they're double vaccinated, but not boosted. And it's going to turn, the economy is going to turn sour very quickly in January, February, and March. You can see the impact. All right, let's go back to our holiday decor. Got off message there. So let's turn back to how do you buy the bread. Deliciousness. Here is some delicious bread that I love to partake in. A little too much. Where's Sandy? She says, I don't like the carbs. So here's some delicious cheese bread. Oh my goodness. I don't want to take out all the wrapper because I'm holding so many things, I'll get it dirty. But here's some delicious cheese bread. And boy, is that good. How do you choose a good bread? A good bread has a lot of what you want on it. So this has all the cheese covered on the outside. Oh, delicious. And you grab it. This has been frozen because I eat a lot. This has been frozen, so you squeeze into it. It's like, oh, it's nice and soft and squeeze it. Yeah, you can squeeze the bread. There's nothing against squeezing the bread like the Charmin at the market. Squeeze the bread, look at it, say, there's a lot of cheese on you. Oh, this is perfect. Now, when you go to a market, they'll often have versions of the same thing. Go for the best version you can grab. So there's a version of this one that I like that's covered with jalapenos. Jalapenos and cheese on the cheese bread. I love it. And if they don't have the jalapeno one, I'm just, I want the one for jalapeno. This is the second best. Sorry, did I just call you second best? I like the one with the jalapeno. So get as much of the good one. Bread freezes well. Bread freezes well. A lot of people don't know how to freeze stuff, believe it or not. It's like a whole show unto itself. How do you freeze stuff? Buy the good bread you like when you see it, because it's not even supply chain. They just these places don't make enough of a right thing. And they say we're out of jalapenos for 2 weeks, so we won't have jalapeno cheese bread for 2 weeks. And you don't have time to keep on going back to the market. Or the guy that bakes didn't show up today. His sister's wedding is tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, here is another very unusual bread. Here you go. This is some delicious ethnic bread. So this is made in Los Angeles, but it's Middle Eastern bread. And I will make a fool of myself telling you from what country, because I have no idea what its country is. I often think it's Lebanese bread because, or Turkish bread, because it is sort of like a fat bread. It has sort of a white bread consistency to it. It's soft bread. It is not like because I've seen the Greek bread, they have it in the market as well. And the name on it is matakash. Flour, yeast, water, and salt. A little bit heavy on the salt. You can sort of feel it. And boy, great. Here's the back of it. Really flat. Stronger parish life. The cheese bread, not as strong parish life. So watch the parish life on a lot of these breads. Let's jump in the live chat. No donuts. Yeah, we're not covering any donut bread in the chat. No donut breads in the chat. And let's see some of the chats, because I haven't... bacon bread. Yeah. Here's Alicia. Oh, no, Lorica. Homemade jalapeno bacon, 10-year-old Wisconsin cheddar bread. Yeah, Lorica has it. She's won the prize. She has jalapeno bacon and Wisconsin cheese on the bread. Dragon says that's European bread. European? I'm not going to make a fool of myself because I have absolutely no idea. Paula, unaffordable. You are talking to real people and not movie stars, please. Who is she referring to? Me? I don't know what she's referring to. Let's go into some more of the incredible comments. And I will pay for overnight shipping. So Paula wants Anne to send her some deliciousness across the country. Dragon says, Stacy, we're doing bread now. We are doing bread now. Let's go over some of the incredible other comments. Mr. Bacon, LALATE has gone Mr. Whipple on us. Yeah, you got to squeeze the bread. You got to squeeze the bread. Absolutely. Anne says, I want gooey cheese bread with cheese inside and out. Yeah, I didn't say this. Cheese bread also has it inside. Yeah, there's a lot of cheese in that bread. There's Valerie, says, LALATE, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I do, and we're going to have it with his viewers. And, did I tell you there's a new Calcino? Yeah, there's a new Calcino. It's great. You're going to love episode 3 of Calcino. And it talks about all of this. Not the bread, but everything else. I'm cooking a turkey today, says Dorothy. Wow. What are the 2 ingredients, says Paula. Oh, but going back to the scones, if you join late in the chat, so the ingredients of the scones were about 6 cups of flour, and split them up however you want to split them up. Then about 2 to 3 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 to 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, a cup of golden raisins, a cup of nuts, your favorite nuts, and 3 tablespoons of vanilla extract, and a tablespoon of salt. First do your dries, mix, then your wets, then put it under tap water and slowly pour in set some tap water, simmer right into it slowly. Cold is temp is fine. Mixing. Consistency should be gooey. 450, preheat the oven. 4 minutes the hand of your right hand and your left hand. 1. Makes about 12 scones. Cook for about 15 minutes. Flip, watch, adjust accordingly because we have different temperatures with different ovens. We have different ingredients. In my case, I had to opt for graham cracker crust flour, which is delicious, by the way, and oats because I didn't have normal flour when I made this. So absolutely across the board. There is toasted cheese sandwiches with dill spears, says Bob Bacon. Really incredible. Really incredible. Let's go over some other incredible. Here is Valerie. Cranberry scone's the best. Yeah. So when you're in that final mixing stage and you're tasting and you got other stuff around the house, throw it in there. Just throw it in there. Dragon says that's artisan bread, or known as silicon bread. Artisan bread? I don't think so, Dragon. I mean, it's really hard to see on camera. No, this is a, let me put it up closer to this camera. I don't think it's artisan bread. I really do think it's, this is the what is it? This is like the show and tell. What is this thing? I don't know. It's deliciousness. It's not artisan because it's very bland. I mean, it's not. It has not a lot of flavor to it. Broccoli that recool that filter a little. You look like your wall has a stellar haircut, giving us a delicious baking recipe. Cool that filter a little. Well, we have three light issues at hand during this recording, especially. First, the bread is on my right side. It's blocking the light. So because I have bread in my foreground and a bad hand, I can't put it far and it's blocking the light. Second, we have the holiday lights behind me that are giving a unusual color hue from the back. So if you tune into Afternoons LA coming up right after the show at 1 o'clock, you're going to see the normal lighting where, trust me, you block one light with a hand, you see a totally different pigment across the board. That's how production lighting works. My favorite is Portuguese sweetbread. Wow, that sounds wonderful across the board. Oh, look at the running time. We're at 45 minutes already. Wow, that was incredible. And there you go. Join me next with Afternoons LA. It's at 1. See, I just went out of focus. I just told you about the lights. There's a lot of difficulty. Oh, here we go. A lot of difficulty when you're doing a show with a lot of show and tell, and you got holiday lights behind you. Join me next on the 1 o'clock afternoon show. Then the 3 o'clock afternoon show is brand new. The 5 o'clock evenings LA show, of course, is brand new. But if you missed it earlier in this recording, tonight we debut a test show. It's 3:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Runs for 12 hours. It is a live overnight show about your financial information, about the forced stimulus recon. It will air in the time slot that normally Overnight's Crypto airs. Please tune in and tell me how you like the show. It'll be a loop of the Afternoons LA show right before it. In future versions, it will probably be the evening show. It's a test show tonight. So I want to see what the numbers are. I'm going to compare them against the Overnight's Crypto. I have a feeling I know where the numbers are, but if you could bring in even bigger numbers, I'll be very happy to see that as well. Meantime, if it has already been taped, I'll see if I can roll it out tonight. A new episode 3 of Calcino is going to be very, very good. It's all about Joe Manchin. It's all about Joe Manchin, the Mitch Ball. It's a good show. You're going to like it. I'm very happy with what Sirloin delivered. I watched from offset, and I'm like, wow, you're doing a good show, Sirloin. And with that, thank you for joining me on Holidays LA. Join me next on the 1 o'clock afternoon show, and coming up right next. Stay informed and stay focused. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and watch this channel throughout the day. If you're watching this on Encore, on holidays, Street and Stimulus, stay with me because coming up next after holidays, Street and Stimulus is the new hit show, Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.